We need to talk about the Trump administration and we need to talk about how it has been so far. And I gotta tell you something. It's been bad. This is my opinion. As a Trump supporter, as someone who supported Trump and supports Trump, I think that so far this administration has been extremely disappointing, especially in some regards, which will go down. In today's video, we will break down the first 5 months of the Trump administration. We're closing on 5 months because it was January 20th when Trump was inaugurated and hope came back, at least from the right side of the political spectrum, which I happened to fall on in this particular election. So we need to talk about everything that has been going on, and we will break it down piece by piece and understand what's happening. What I think has been the worst part of the Trump administration is foreign policy. Why so? Let's analyze here the situation. Trump came in, and one of the biggest reasons he was elected was because when he was president, no new wars started. And he actually managed to de-escalate conflicts, which is something that is great, undeniably. Trump was the first president not to have any new war in ages. Now, in his second term, he inherited a very bad situation, objectively. I did have some hopes he could solve those situations, but it looks like he doesn't have a chance, or he doesn't have much of a chance, which is obviously a very sad thing for the world, regardless of whether you support Trump or not, regardless of whether you like him or not, because having someone capable of stopping wars would be fantastic. But it looks like it's a more complex operation to carry out than just that Trump saying, Putin, stop. It's not that easy, obviously. So Trump was unlucky because he inherited wars that hadn't started when he was president. So that's undeniable. I mean, Israel started bombing countries again at such an intense level when Biden was president. And Israel was first attacked by Hamas on October 7th. The problem is that these wars seem to escalate. They don't seem to de-escalate. Let's look at the situation in the Middle East. Israel struck Iran, provoking possibly US intervention. So Trump just got played because he's, in my opinion, controlled by the Jewish lobby. Again, $230 million is a big paycheck, okay? It's not a small one. Think about all the things you could buy with $230 million and understand why Trump's doing what he's doing. Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine carries out a very good operation and destroys many of Russia's jets, and Russia's going to respond, and it seems like it could escalate even further. So we're not de-escalating, we are escalating. Is this totally Trump's fault? No. However, he is inheriting the problem. He is the president of America right now. So he is taking all the hit, which is what Harris would have taken had she won. I believe that it's more Trump's fault when it comes to Israel. Let's take Russia out of the equation for a second. But the problem is that Trump has got leverage in Israel. A lot of leverage. Israel couldn't fund all of these wars without America's support. If America cut off ties with Israel, if America didn't give money to Israel with regard to military aid, Israel would be fucked. Let's just tell it like it is. This is not any anti-Semitic opinion, this is just a fact. Okay? Very simply. So the state of Israel would have probably already been conquered, destroyed, however you want to say it, by other neighboring states, had it not had such unconditional support from the United States of America, the strongest army in the world. So Trump has got leverage to end the war. He should just tell Netanyahu, I'm not giving you any aid whatsoever, I'm not supporting your wars. You either stop it or fight it by yourself. And I can assure you that Netanyahu would have immediately stopped the war, because he can't defeat Iran by himself. He will now drag America into this war, and Trump will cave. I'm telling you this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but Trump will bend the knee in 30 days at best, I believe. But what I'm certain, let's take the time frame out of the equation. What I'm certain is that Trump will bend the knee, because he was given money by AIPAC, and $230 million is a big paycheck, okay? So he certainly has to do them favors, and this is no conspiracy theory. Again, it's known. There are numbers that demonstrate he was given such a big amount of money. But irrespective of that, the Middle East situation could have been solved by this move by Trump. Why does he not do it? Well, I suppose that it's because he needs to keep promises, and he has the support of the Jewish lobby, who's given him hundreds of millions of dollars, who's given Congress millions of dollars, in particular to Republicans. The only Republican who's not taken a penny from AIPAC is Thomas Massie. All the other 217, I guess, or 18 Republicans have taken money from AIPAC, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the situation right now. So he has leverage upon Israel, but if he does what he should do, he's gonna get wrecked. They're gonna tell him, listen, we're not gonna support you anymore. Good luck with the next elections. You're gonna destroy the Republican Party, because without our support, it would be hard for you to win as many seats as you do. So you'd better not pull the trigger on Netanyahu. So that's why he's not doing it. And I can tell you this, America will intervene in Iran. There's gonna be war in Iran between the United States and America. Now Iran is firing ballistic missiles into Israel, and Israel needs more support. Israel can't just carry out strikes on Iran. They need to go further, or they need to have a deterrent. What is the deterrent Israel has got? Nukes and the United States. So that's the Middle East. Russia and Ukraine. Now, here Trump has got less leverage, because you can say sanctions on Russia. How many sanctions has Russia got? I lost count hundreds of times already. So they don't care about sanctions anymore. They're not negotiating with Western nations since the beginning of this war. So they don't care that much. He's not got a lot of leverage upon that situation. Yet he does have leverage upon the Middle East. So that has failed. Foreign policy has failed. India and Pakistan were going at it. Now, thankfully, it stopped. But still, the risk of another escalation of a foreign conflict was there. And this is not all Trump's fault. But if you look at who's the president of the United States, the most powerful nation in the world, you blame the president. When people are gonna read the history of 2020s, they'll see who was the president when this happened. Trump. He didn't do a good job. They're not gonna remember that he wasn't involved for XYZ reasons. Okay, that's gonna be ancient history. That's gonna be details lost forever. Unless you are an extremely knowledgeable person. But most people are not extremely knowledgeable, and neither am I, for the record. Okay, let's just make this clear. So foreign policy has been a disaster, I think. Now let's talk about another thing, which is the economy. Now, the acronym TACO, Trump always chickens out, is true. I hate to say this because I like Trump as a person a lot. I think he's a very fun person. And The Apprentice was great. I never watched it, but they say it's great. But irrespective of that, he's a very fun person. He's also smart, or he used to be at least. Now he's low energy. I mean, you see the difference from 10 years ago, it's day and night, even 5 years ago. It's undeniably day and night. Way more energy, way stronger voice. Now it's a way lower voice and way weaker voice. At the same time, media pressure has gone down. I mean, the media is not after him as much as they were 10 years ago, which is less entertaining, but it is what it is, I guess. When it comes to the economy and tackle, Trump always chickens out. If you want to put tariffs on all nations, go for it. It's a plan, it's a strategy which can make sense if it is carried out coherently. The problem is that Trump isn't carrying out this thing in a coherent way. He's just putting tariffs however he wants to put them, as if he were extracting a number from a lottery. 27% China, 32% India. Like, this is not the way things can function, first things foremost. The other problem is that the uncertainty surrounding American markets and the stock market and everything has really wrecked everything, undeniably. Because investors are like, well, I don't know what to do here. Because this dude puts the tariffs, pulls them out, put the tariffs, backtrack. Like, just pick, decide, go for the tariffs, and at least tell the people, okay, for 3 months we will have the tariffs on, or there is going to be a period where tariffs will be a lot, and then they will come down. But if there is no certainty that investors will profit, then everything's gone. So I am not even against tariffs if they're done correctly. But you need to be coherent with your strategy. You need to tell a part of your strategy. You can't just, okay, today it's 10%, tomorrow it's 30%. Like, no one's going to understand anything like that. So that has been a mess. The economy was Trump's strongest point in the first term. Now it's maybe the weakest. Probably the weakest. Trump was elected because people remember that when he was president, prices were lower and there were no wars, and immigration was more under control than under Biden. Now, this is the very succinct explanation as to why Trump was re-elected. But the problem now is prices ain't coming down, the economy is not doing well, immigration is under control, that's the only thing that has been fine, and wars are starting all over the place, and there's going to be an Iraq 2.0 in George W. Bush fashion, which is going to wreck Trump's legacy, and everything's going to go to shit. That's the way it's looking, at least to me. I don't think this is going to be reversed. I don't think at this point, I mean, can this be avoided? Yes. Will it be avoided? No. For the reasons I told you before. Last point, immigration. Securing the southern border has been extremely successful. The problem is, and this is related to tackle, mass deportations are not happening. Undeniably. Like, we're talking about hundreds of deportees per day. This is fewer than 1 million in 4 years. Way fewer than what the American people, the Republican electorate, had been promised by its frontrunner, Donald J. Trump. He promised, I don't know how many, but he promised upwards of 15 million. We're talking about 1 million at best. He's saying he's not going to go after farmers who are in the country legally. Well, how is that a mass deportation? It's not a mass deportation. So mass deportation is out of the window. And the reason why the acronym TACO is true is because Trump faced media pressure. And pressure because the images coming out of Los Angeles were bad. Because he escalated the deportations a little bit. And now everything is vanished. Mass deportations are out of the window. It's not going to happen. It's not happening. Unfortunately, it is not. I am very in favor of mass deportations. Oh, but the economy is not going to benefit. Yes, but this is something which must be done. It must be done. Okay, it's going to hurt the economy for a little while, but then it's going to recover faster and gonna get better. And people are in favor of deporting all illegal aliens. The public opinion with regard to deportations has changed totally since Trump first ran in 2015. When Trump ran in 2015, and he was more extreme than he is now by far, watch the rallies, it's day and night, I think. He was saying, build the wall, Muslim ban. By the way, in my opinion, perfectly fine ideas. The public was like, no, this is a disaster, this cannot be permitted. Now the people want a wall, want a moratorium, or at least a severe restriction of both legal and illegal immigration. People believe it's too many immigrants in the country. And still, deportations are not happening. If there is a moment where they could happen, is with Trump and when the public is in favor of them. If they don't happen now, forget about mass deportations forever. They're gone, out of the window. So that's not happening. So, what is going well with this administration? Securing the border, and probably that's it. And woke is gone. Two things. One, extremely important, the southern border. Woke, important, but I'd rather not have worse. I do like the cultural impact, by the way. Because as I said, I feel like the Overton window is getting more and more, I'll find a word. The Overton window is becoming more and more willing to allow even rather interesting ideas. And by that I mean, 5 years ago or a few years ago, saying something remotely nationalistic was deemed as far right. Now that is being normalized, which is great. And I'm all for it. I'm all for this extension of freedom of speech, call it like that, or extension of acceptance of speech. Because now the public accepts a degree of nationalism that some people have. I'm taking myself out of the equation, by the way. I'm not referring to myself here. So I do like that particular aspect of the Trump administration. That's one of the biggest reasons I supported him, despite knowing the Jewish influence upon him, which was going to bring him to do an Iraq 2.0. I knew there was a high chance it would happen. I called the Iran war in January. Predicted it correctly. Credit to Nicholas J. Fuentes. I wouldn't have gotten it right without him, by the way. So this is the situation. The military parade. This is just a detail. I don't really care about it. But it was shit. Okay, let's just be totally honest here. It was one of the worst military parades I've ever seen. Probably the worst. Why? Because Americans are not used to parades. Not the American people, the soldiers. Parades are something done with authoritarian regimes. So the military parade was very bad. Trump didn't look good. He was sleeping almost. He was very disappointed. There was no one attending the parade. Low energy. It was a really bad one. Indeed. But that's just a detail, okay? I don't really care about the military parade. But what I do care about are the core issues which are not being tackled correctly. And the acronym TACO, Trump always chickens out, is true. Trade war, chickened out. Trying to restrain Israel, not happening. Russia-Ukraine deal, not happening. Mass deportations, forget about them. It's true. But unfortunately, it's clear for me to see at least that Trump is not in his prime and not even close. We're talking about someone who's getting old, and I'm not showing sympathy here. I still think he's fine. He's always been crazy, which is one of the reasons why I like him, by the way, because he's willing to do things no one would be willing to do. Now, I start to see some signs of mental decline, but it's still early. He's still fine. But we're not talking about the sharpest dude, okay? This is not Trump 1.0 who was sharper. This is a slower Trump. More low energy. Things like this. More low energy, indeed. So we're talking about someone who's not in his prime anymore. So relying on an 80-year-old man to save us all, that's a big task. Not even Trump can pull it off. So I think this is the situation as it stands now. This is my overall opinion. Would America be better off had Harris won? I think no. One, Middle East conflict, it would have escalated anyway. Russia-Ukraine, same thing, no deal would have been made. With regard to the southern border, illegal aliens would still be crossing at a rate as high as Biden, even higher, maybe, or maybe slightly lower. Immigration restrictionism, same thing with Trump, even worse. Then when it comes to woke, would have gone crazier, political correctness would have gone crazier, censorship would have gone crazy. But it's also going crazy with Trump. Censorship of anti-Semitism in campuses. Why are you prioritizing silencing anti-Semites over racists and homophobe people? Why are we prioritizing one person, one particular behavior? I think it's very wrong. And the First Amendment doesn't allow any of those things. So I'm very against that. But Harris, I think, would have done the same. Not as strongly with regard to anti-Semitism, but I think conservative voices, enemies would have been silenced anyway. So censorship would have happened anyway. Economy would have been more stable, possibly. But I think a Harris presidency would be worse than a Trump presidency. Yet, this Trump presidency is off to a very bad start, in my opinion. Thank you all for listening. See you soon. Take care, and hopefully you all have a good day. I'll be praying for you. And as I said, see you very soon.